Hey, welcome to Roaming Minds. I'm Carlos.
I'm AJ, and here we talk about the thoughts that kept us out of all the really good schools. You know, those quiet spirals, the questions that keep you up at night, and the trials and tribulations that we all face as human beings.
This show is part reflection, part reminder. We're not broken, we're on a journey of growth. Please note that this conversation should not be taken as medical or professional advice. See the link in the description below if you require immediate help.
Every week, we unpack what it means to choose joy. Not the loud version that Karen is peddling, but the quiet, hard-earned kind that comes from finally feeling like yourself again.
Let's keep this conversation going. Join us on Discord or connect to a peer through Kindred. Let's get into it.
I think it's undeniable these days that attention is a problem. We talk about having more and more distractions, and correct me if I'm wrong, we should, if it is an attention problem, have enough solutions to be able to solve the attention problem. In theory, things like Adderall should solve the attention problem. And so then I'm gonna ask. I said not just Adderall specifically.
Okay. Yeah.
I understand that I'm limiting a little, but I'm just yes. We want to stay away from the diagnosis and more just focus on the solution. And we do have prescription options for attention issues.
Yeah, severe attention issues.
But I'd be curious to know, what's the success rate of these medications?
I do not know off the top of my head.
Neither do I. So let's go check that. I'm interesting. I'm interested. Success rate of Okay. So it makes a very clear distinction. It has a high probability of effect on people with ADHD.
Yeah, but
Okay?
yes.
And when I say high, we're talking 70 to 80% roughly success rate.
That's for a medication, that is good.
For ADHD.
Yes.
And that's in lab trials. So that means that if you are a part of the group that it doesn't work for, not only does it mean that maybe you have been slightly misdiagnosed, and I don't really want to go down that road. I'm just putting all possibilities out there. You are of the 20 to 30% that has ADHD that the stimulants don't work for, or attention is not the problem. Those are effectively our three, and there could be other options that I'm not thinking of, but those are the big three that kind of stand out.
Yeah, it could be, as you said, it could be a combination. It's either a misdiagnosis, it's not, because, well, in a lot of psychiatric and mental disorders, symptoms overlap, so it's easy to sometimes get, because these are based on criteria, so you can meet a criteria from one that's slightly higher, and then that can lead into different aspects. We're not getting into that. And then two, because again, the way medications are made, it's an average. So there are some people that it's going to be very, very effective for. There are some people it's going to be right effective for. There are some people that's just not going to. It just ain't going to do. It ain't just going to do anything. And then there are people where it could be like a comorbidity of things. Maybe they have 2-3 things going on, and maybe if you take care of the first or second thing, that can also then ultimately help the third thing. So maybe taking care of the third thing doesn't really take care of all the other issues, so therefore the symptoms still present.
Right. And so what that leads us to, and this is where I really do want to focus today, is this idea of maybe you're just overloaded and I'm not saying don't have attention problems, because that would be crazy, but aren't actually, there's nothing physically wrong with your brain that does not allow you the ability or the opportunity to focus.
I do want to ask, are you making this this statement based off of people with ADHD or people just for the general public?
Just in general. I don't want to, we're not, we're definitely not here to, I'm not qualified. You're not qualified yet. Really, it boils down to a big yet, and that's okay. We really want to focus on that, the experience of not being able to focus, not the experience, or maybe even this experience of fragmented attention. So constantly jumping back and forth between the two, not actual neurological disorder. We I'll try and sum this up as quickly as I can. We talked last week about the scale of load versus unload, and how when we're constantly in overload, this side just keeps building and keeps building and keeps building, and we think that watching TV or doom scrolling or whatever is going to balance out these scales. But what we find is that it doesn't balance out the scales because it's a distraction. It stops this point, but it doesn't actually give us any positive affect to be able to come back to here. And so what has to happen is we have to have some sort of positive affect in our lives. And the best way that I can explain that is just good emotion, if that, or like an experience of, for lack of a better term, joy, lightheartedness, flow states. We've all heard these terms thrown out there before, but really what we're talking about is a sense of feeling good. Uh, if those two don't balance out, I'm going to live in a state of constant overload. And so what I want to highlight here is that if we live in a state of constant overload, we can still have attention problems. We can still have trouble focusing. We can still have trouble doing these things. We understand logically, oh man, I got to get this shit done. But just because we understand it logically doesn't mean that we're equipped to be able to handle that, right? And I think there's a lot of disservice that is done in modern informational contexts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try and say that the nice way, because we think, and especially to this day and age, the big buzzword is discipline, 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 discipline. Just keep doing this. You just have to be disciplined. And it's not always just about being disciplined, because I'm going to tell you, I can be disciplined about the wrong thing. I'm not here to attack discipline. Please understand, discipline is very important, but you have to be disciplined about doing the work, and you have to be disciplined about the recovery side of things. You must be disciplined to the point where it balances out, not just disciplined here so that you can just keep going and keep going and keep going. Life is not just run, 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 run. Who wants to run straight to their death? Not me. The other key distinction that I want to make here is that we don't have to own distraction. It's not a character flaw of ours to be distracted.
Mm-hmm.
It's even in cases of neurological disorders, it's not a character flaw. There's
Yeah, yeah.
just something wrong. Not
Mm,
sorry, I don't like that either. There's just something different,
yeah.
right?
Something
You
I don't want to use the word
atypical.
atypical either. I don't
Yeah,
want to use
I
I don't use the
understand.
word atypical either.
Mhm. Your brain just operates differently.
Yeah,
That's
like
it.
it's just wired literally. It's the professionals say you're just wired differently sometimes.
Mhm. There's not a damn thing that you can do about it, so there's no use in feeling bad about it. And B, it's not something that anybody should feel shame about. It
Yeah.
just is what it is. But when we place that, it kind of goes back. I forget if it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, and we were talking about why we internalize things that way. It really goes back to that conversation, because we're not, attention is not a moral concept.
Mm-hmm.
Attention is something that is biologically built in and ingrained inside of us. It is a part of our cognition. And
Yeah.
so if we are cognitively overloaded at any point in time, then it stands to reason that attention is going to suffer. Why? Because there's no more space to provide any more attention for you. There was a really interesting study a while back, and I'm going to butcher it. I really don't care. I'm just going to give you the overall highlights of it. We can really only focus at most on 3 things at once. So they did a thing, I think they tossed out like an amount of coins, and they would toss out 2 coins, 3 coins. And what they found is that if I'm thinking right, I think it was 3 or 6. Fuck if I remember. I don't know. It makes no difference. We're getting just the moral concept. You can throw in whichever number you want, 3, 6. I know it's not more than that. I'm almost 100% certain. 99.5. But moral of the story is after a certain number, our attention becomes unreliable. So subjects were able to remember 6 of the positions or 3 of the positions. And then what they did is they started throwing things out in groups. And so they would throw groups of 5 coins, right, out. And then they would ask how many were there. And they would throw more than 3 or more than 6 groups. And so participants were able to either get whatever 3 times 5, they could be like, oh, there's 15, or 6 times 5, there was 30. But anything after that became spotty. They just
Yeah.
couldn't do it. So then this makes attention a fundamental operation of our cognition. If we are overloaded, our attention will suffer. If we are experiencing any sort of cognitive overload, and what happens when we get overloaded, it comes back to this.
We we
Let me
tend
go
to
ahead and doom scroll. Let me go ahead
yeah.
and watch TV. And maybe it's not doom scrolling. Maybe it's not watching TV. Insert personal distraction here. Go for it. I can see the wheels spinning, please.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but I think we also live in a word that's those things are designed to distract us. So like, then we just feed into it more because your algorithm is designed to specifically keep your attention and keep you away from thing. And if you go out in the world, there's this thing that's trying to grab your attention, and this thing trying to grab your attention. This thing g- grab your attention. You've been driving down. I know you. Well, I'm assuming you've probably have this experience, but you're driving down the road and you see one thing and then another thing and then another thing. But then you're like, wait, what was that first thing that I saw? You can't remember because you just by the time you get to a mile down the road, you saw 7 different things, and it's just all hard to keep focus on one thing.
Hmm. So yes, and I think you brought up a really important point there. And I'm gonna push back just a little bit because I think you're right, but I think the terminology is a little off. You said that these were designed to distract, and they're not designed to distract us. They're designed to maximize attention. That is the goal. They want to maximize that attention, and they understand the neural underpinnings of attention. So they can design those things, whatever you're using, in a way to maintain your attention. And again, like I said, it's not adding overload. You're not adding to the stack. If you think about it like a
Mhm.
stack of items, I've got okay, so we sit at baseline, whatever that is. The problem with this stack is that when I add things to this side diminishes. It doesn't just stay the same. So, all right, I have a child that I have to worry about. That's, mm, hmm, I don't like that. Not that I have to worry about, but that
No, worry about. I think worry about is a good thing. It sounds wrong, but like you do have to worry about your child. You do have to consistently be thinking about like your kid and what's going on with them.
right. Well, I have to worry about my behavior and modeling the right behavior for him. That's my concern. So that's one for here, one for here. I have a job that unfortunately is experiencing a lot of stress right now. Add one, down one. Again, we're direct trade-offs. Um, whatever else. I don't know. It's going to take me way too long to go through all of them. But again, the point is that we keep stacking. We keep stacking responsibilities, and these keep going down. Now, the converse is also true, that if I stack over here, this comes down as well. And the best we can do is keep that baseline. However, when we go and we use things like social media and things like television and things like that, we stop adding responsibilities to the stack. We're not adding any responsibility, but we're also not taking away any of that. We're not adding things to the positive affect stack. We are adding things to the neurological attentive stack, which exists over here, that plays a role in all of, but that doesn't directly affect the stack. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
so that's the problem. That's the biggest issue that we currently exist inside of. Um and then it becomes, well, this is your problem because you're not focusing enough. You are experiencing problems with attention. Okay, partially right, partially really fucked up. Because again, I'd be wrong to say that it's not partially our fault. If it wasn't, then we wouldn't be able to claim what we've been claiming for the past month or two with agency. Agency
Yeah.
makes it partially our problem. It is definitely fucked up. Okay. However, with the agency comes an understanding of everything that goes on
Hmm.
and makes it easier to be like, yeah, it's fucked up, but I'm not going to worry about it anymore. Do you know what I mean? Or I'm not going to um, dip my toes in for any longer than I have to. I know how to combat it, so it's okay. I know how to work within the system and the confines of the system to produce the best possible outcome. Does that make more sense? Our current trajectory of living constantly, and I mean constantly, manufactures overload between social media, and I don't think they manufacture the overload. I think they really just perpetuate it. They don't do anything to necessarily help it. But we are working longer hours. I saw that a thing that and maybe it's complete bullshit. I don't know. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. So that's absolutely insane. In China, startups work 996. No, I lied. They work 997. 996 is considered work-life balance. Do you know what 997 is?
No, optimal or
No, it means that your work hours are 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Work-life balance is 996, 9 a.m.
oh,
to
nine
9
nine six.
p.m.
Got it.
6 days a week.
It's
Some American startups are beginning to adopt the 996 method. That's fucking crazy. It's crazy.
same.
If you can do it, good for you. I feel like there's an extremely high
I mean,
chance
but
of burnout,
where
and
is
you're sorry.
I was gonna say, where is the balance? Because if you work
No, there is
nine
none.
nine to six, like there is no
Well, and
balance. At
no.
least to me.
Mm-mm.
Maybe some people that is balance in their life. It's all there is some level of subjectivity to this a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So some people might find that as perfectly legit and that their life is what in alignment. But
Mhm.
for me, I am going in a field where that is probably what I'll have to do. So who knows? Who knows? Talk to me in 5 6 years when I'm working those hard. I'm like, never felt better.
Yeah. No, and it's funny because I shouldn't say funny because I don't think it's really that hysterical. There's a stark difference in culture from China to
Yeah.
America. So
Yes.
996 in China looks a whole lot different than 996 in America. But in America, it's constant. There's no breaks. We're not sitting there just being like, "Oh, okay, it's all right. You can take a 2-hour break and then get back to work." That's not gonna happen. And so the burnout, it again, it diminishes that recovery time.
It does.
The recovery time just disappears. And again, that stack, we just keep adding to the stack. It's in no way, shape, or form sustainable. That's why in movies and shit, you see all the tech CEOs sitting there meditating and fucking trying to and exercising, things like that, because they're constantly trying to decrease the stack. That is the goal. If we can find that balance of positive affect and cognitive responsibilities, that's what we're gonna call them, because I have to go to work, I have to model decent behavior, I have to do these things. They are responsibilities that demand my
That's
time and attention. If I can balance that out with something that I found that I enjoy that makes me feel good, then I get a chance at balancing the scales, and then I can actually go out and do those things. But we can't do those things if it is not
some bit apples. Nah.
if we're not aware of it, right?
Yeah.
If we're not aware of it, then we're gonna sit there and we're gonna be like, okay, well, what are these attention hacks? How can I hack my attention? And you're gonna try lots of different things. You're gonna try things like cold showers because that's supposed to reduce stress. Um, maybe. Who knows? I never found that to be helpful at all. And I did them for a very long time. And I was just like, this is not doing shit. It does help a little bit with muscle recovery, but that's the only thing I ever found it to really do. And things like just having discipline, again, I can be super duper disciplined and be like, this is not working for me anymore, and go out and blow my head off real fucking quick. It's very easy to get there being fucking disciplined. We don't need anybody to get there. That's not where I'm trying to get anybody to. That's where I'm not. I sure as fuck don't want to be there. Um, and so what really is important, you cannot focus your way out of cognitive overload. It doesn't happen. It's impossible. Your brain is at its limit cognitively. Just telling somebody to go focus or just concentrate does absolutely
Absolutely
fucking
nothing.
nothing. Nothing. So then, well, AJ, I guess you're just fucked, aren't we? No, of course
No.
not. I hope I've tried to weave in the beginnings of the said solution, but it all comes back to agency. I need to know the system that I am working in. I need to
Mm-hmm.
know what it is that I'm stacking on top of and adding to my stack of responsibilities. I need to know what makes me feel good so that I can intersperse these together so that my stack is relatively, it's okay if it goes like this a little bit. It's okay if it goes like this a little bit. It's not okay if it goes like this and stays like this. And it's
Yeah.
not okay if it goes like this and stays like this. Extremes, operating at either ends of extremes, are not
That's
going to
so
be
important.
pleasant.
Yeah.
However, existing in that middle, and while it's doing its little song and dance and playing and balancing itself out, is absolutely perfect. And then what's going to happen? Your cognitive load's going to decrease. So naturally, your attention is going to work out more.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this over the past few weeks because I've stopped run, 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 run. And at night, I focus strictly on making music. And what I've been able to do is I really don't use much social media anymore. I don't really watch I think I maybe watch 20 minutes of TV a day. I come home after work and I'm like, eh, I'll watch something while it's typically just while I'm making food, just because by that point, I'm so hungry that I want to eat everything and I need that distraction. Let me rephrase that. I would like that distraction to take away from the hunger before I make something healthy, rather than going straight to the shit drawer that we have and just eating all the fucking snacks. But other than that, I'm reading
Mhm.
constantly. I'm spending 2 and 3 hours deeply focused on making music. It is not, if I'm able to balance out that cognitive load, my attention is naturally going to come back. And this is speaking from somebody who has very severe ADHD. Like, I am a part of the 70 to 80% that stimulants work for, but refuse to take because I don't like the fact that it takes away from my personality.
Yeah.
That's just how it's always been. It is what it is. Your nervous system needs a chance to settle. If I Even if you run, eventually what happens is you come to a specific point where you are forced to stop. You get sick, you get an injury, you get any one of these things. And then you're forced to stop for weeks rather than an hour or two at night. And it's not once that balance gets out of whack, balance has to be restored somehow. Your neurological system has to come back to some sort of homeostasis in order to fix, repair itself from the constant. And especially if you're struggling with sleeping and things of that nature, this just magnifies fucking tenfold and becomes
Yeah.
even more important. Attention is not about, did I say attention? I said
Yeah. It's
attention.
your attention. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting them mixed up. Sorry. Attention is not about intention. I can intend to focus all I want. But if my brain does not have the capacity for attention, then it doesn't matter how well intended I am. It's not going to make it there. There's that old fucking saying of the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It applies to attention and focus as well. It's not just about taking shitty actions. It must, when it comes to us taking agency, it is about designing our habits so that our cognitive, I'm going to say it, I like it, our cognitive stack balances out. I like the term cognitive stack though, because I don't think we talk about cognitive overload all the time.
Yeah.
It's such a major buzzword these days. They're like cognitive overload. You're overloaded, and you're like, yeah, it's because I'm fucking stressed out beyond all fucking belief. This isn't a surprise, and and then it's like, oh, but that's because I'm stacking 6 million different things on top of each other without balancing it out on the
Mhm.
other side.
Yep.
And that is where things get problematic. This is where we need the most assistance, right? I think we need more assistance in finding where our positive affect lies because I know I'm guilty of it too sometimes. I do my best to push my kid and be like, find what works for you,
Wait.
the same general idea. But when it comes down to responsibilities, I know I still place more of an importance on responsibilities than I do playthings.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just something that I know that I need to work on is ensuring that I'm encouraging both equally and not relying my explanations on one or the other. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes sense.
I feel like I'm being way too hypothetical
Um.
today. And
I mean, it is a little bit more on the abstract and more on. I wouldn't say quite theoretical, but it is more.
right. So I will tell you that this idea of cognitive stack is really, it's new to me. I'm describing this as I'm talking about it. So that's why it gets more abstract and theoretical. And I do apologize. So then
No. Look, all great ideas start from somewhere.
I have a lot of great ideas. The problem is most of them suck. No, I'm just
Well,
No.
you can't, can it be a great idea that sucks? Because if it's a great idea, that means it's
Oh, yeah.
good.
No, it definitely, because a great idea. All right. Did you ever listen to George Carlin? This is a
Yeah, okay,
complete
okay, I
side
know what this is
tangent.
going. Okay, I know what this is going.
He goes. So that's where I got the. I have a lot of great ideas. Most of them suck.
Yeah.
You've never seen this idea before. A combination Walkman and colostomy bag. We'll call it a shit man. Great idea, but that shit sucks. Could you
Listening to
imagine how many times he probably shit himself to come up with that idea? Wow. Oh man.
that rectum control was was not working.
Now that we've gotten completely off topic. No, I like it. You got to address some humor in the room. Or
Yeah.
let some humor in the room. There we go. That's what it is. Now we've talked about agency. We've talked about this idea of cognitive stack. So then really what it becomes our responsibility to do is to reflect and to take that
Yes.
reflection and to figure out how that is that we can go ahead and restore agency. How can
Hmm.
we reduce that overload? Well, the first thing that we need to do is find out where exactly our overload is. So, what is draining or occupying your attention before you even start your day? What is it that you wake up and that instantaneously requires demand? For a long time for me, it was work. There was situations at work. Boom. The second I woke up, I'm up and I'm at the bed and I'm like, well, I could send this and this and this, and I could do this and this. And instantaneously adding things to the stack. And again, we'll
Hmm.
put these reflection prompts in there, but I'm going to go through them just to give you some idea and some sort of example. Where are you carrying emotional or cognitive load you never name? Okay. This one is very, 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 very hard if you are not an emotional person to find. I speak of that from personal experience because I had no idea that felt like shit for many, many years until I found what feeling good actually was. And so maybe
Yeah.
it could be, what is something positive in your life that makes you feel good? And not, maybe it's not something, but what is an action? I like that one better. I'm going to write that down just so that I have that because I think that that's important. What is an action that
Mhm.
brings about positive feelings? Because that's going to help you to then go ahead and answer, where are you carrying that emotional or because that you never name. It's hard to name something if you're not aware of it in the first place. So I may rethink that one, but it's important to think about in the back of your head, but you may not be able to answer that question initially. Again, so if I had to answer what is an action that brings about positive feelings, it is making music. It is creating things. It is creative ideation. It is painting. It is all that kind of stuff. I love doing it. It brings me a sense of joy and wholeness. So when it comes to me carrying emotional or cognitive load, I'm carrying around this absence, this lack of, by not participating in that creative ideation, by not engaging in the things that I know are going to make me experience life the way that I need to do it. And then another one is, what feels like a distraction that might actually be fatigue. This can take many different forms. It does not just have to be doom scrolling. It does not just have to be television. Mine typically is TV, movies, and it's not good TV. It's like bullshit sitcoms that are just playing in the background because I just need to be distracted from the fucking stack.
And
This
I think, sorry, I just want to make
No,
make
no,
a
please
point
go
emphasis,
for it.
like maybe using TV or there are, for example, going to the gym could serve as a distraction. There are other type of activities and things that we do that is not just the doom scrolling. Because I think sometimes when we think of the distraction, we think of the negative distraction. Wait, I don't want to say wasting time watching TV or like the bad writing and all the other stuff, but like going to the gym or I don't know, hanging out with friends, all these things also serve as a distraction. And just because it might be a positive outcome, just doesn't necessarily negate that it's a distraction. Because I think sometimes in psychological terms, when there is a positive outcome, things like that get overlooked as being part of the problem or being part of like the issue itself, and rather we just tend to focus on the negative things that usually
Mhm.
as far associated with it.
I agree. You definitely don't want to anything can be used as a distraction. And I think that that's a really important distinction to make because it it's fucking rampant, dude. And so this, I think, really kind of brings us to this idea that our attention isn't broken. It's not that there's something wrong with us because it's not working.
Yeah,
It's it's just responding. It's a natural response for being responsible for more than it's supposed to be or more than it's accustomed to. Again, we've talked about it. Unprecedented times, lots of new information, lots of new things happening. Our neurological systems are going to be stretched. This is normal. This is how we progress. I'm not saying not to stretch your nervous system. That would be foolish. But we must find that recovery. We must know how to reset that
yeah,
neurological system so that we can then adapt to that system and move forward with our lives, if that makes sense.
absolutely.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Carlos and I greatly appreciate it. Comment something that resonated with you today. We are here for support, feedback, or anything else that you want to share. Join us on the Kindred app, a perfect space to keep unpacking what came up during the episode. Get live, peer-to-peer support from people with shared experiences. Kindred is built for those moments that no one else sees.
Take this one step deeper by reviewing today's reflection prompt in the show notes. Please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and tune in next week for a new episode. Until next time, choose joy.